Go.
All right, these guys were the original ground gnomes, like legit. They do look like gnomes. The OG gnome right here.
Remember, that's disrespect. That is King Antiochus and Judas.
What's up, guys? We're in Nemrut right now. And what is Nemrut, you ask? When we were booking our trip to Turkey, we looked online and we were like, okay, what are places we want to see in Turkey? We have like 40 days there, so we got to figure out what cities we see as we do our loop. And we saw this thing, and it's pretty much like these statues of heads, like big ass heads. And we were like, oh, that's in Nemrut. That looks pretty cool. Let's go there. And after staying in a bunch of places at a certain time, we're like, okay, we can't stay in places just one night. It's really, really nerve-wracking. You just put your stuff down, you sleep, and then you gotta pack it up and go the next day. Let's stay there for 3 nights. Little do we know, the little village outside of Nemrut is just like one hotel and one store. The store is just like a bunch of things there. There's only one restaurant. There's not much to do at all here, and there's no internet. So we've been staring at each other the whole entire time. The power just went out. So we're gonna go downstairs and eat at the one restaurant here. And then later on today, we're gonna see the big ass heads that we came here for, which is about a 20-minute drive from here. So we're gonna check that out today for sunset, and then we're gonna check it out tomorrow for sunrise, because we have nothing to do tomorrow either. So this is the hotel that we're staying at. The restaurant's up the street, and the market's also up the street. We're gonna get some food, but it's also really, really beautiful around us.
So this is the first reality check to let us know that we really are city people, I think. It's really nice being here in Nemrut, but it's the first time I think either of us have ever actually spent time in a place that like is so different from what we're used to, and I love it.
We're not city people.
We're not city people anymore.
We are city people.
We're village people now.
But honestly though, the mountains surrounding us are beautiful, and it makes me want to hike everything around here. So I'm pretty excited to go to Nemrut. We've been bunkered down in our hotel for like 25 hours. So I'm pretty pumped to go outside.
It looks so good. Do you like it?
The food here is low-key bomb. It's so good.
We are driving to Mount Nemrut right now. It's like a 20-minute drive from where we're staying.
I love how Ruthie just laughs. So we just left our cave to see those head things, which is called Nemrut, which is the main reason why we came here. So we're gonna go inside. I think it's a 20-minute hike to the top, or you could pay 25 lira per person to take a van up to the top rather than hiking. So we're gonna hike.
And then we're gonna hike.
All right, so ticket is 20 lira. You can get a van to bring you up to the top for 25 lira extra, but we're cheap, so you know we're walking up the top.
Yep, we're gonna walk all the way up there. I think it's only supposed to take 20 minutes, so let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Hopefully no one yells at us when we're halfway up to come back down and take a van. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's pretty hard communicating with everybody.
And with ourselves.
And with ourselves, apparently. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped to check this out, and it's absolutely beautiful surrounding us.
Yeah.
Uphill hike begins. Butt workout today. What up, Ruthie?
It's roughly 2,000 meters at the top, which I think is over 6,000 feet in elevation. So we didn't do a huge elevation gain here. It was mostly just this first part. I think altogether about 400 meters elevation, I think, which is maybe like 1,200 feet. Actually, that's significant.
Hey, there's the van. A good thing about this being so far out of the way is that not a lot of people come here. So whether you come at sunrise or sunset, you pretty much have these views and Nemrut to yourself. So
yep.
Pretty pumped, actually.
So pumped.
The mountains are cool around us. There's a lake. It's not the good thing. The other good thing about sunrise or sunset is it's not too hot. So don't have to use sunscreen.
And at the top of a mountain, it's always gonna be colder and windier. So always bring an extra layer, even if it's super hot that day. Like it was today, because it was so hot.
But she brought a sweater because she's smart.
Sweater.
So the sun rises on the west, so you take this in the morning.
Rise on the east.
Rise on the east.
Yeah.
So you take,
The sun rises on the east, and it sets on the west, so that the east side sees the light of the sun when it's setting, and the west side sees the light of the sun when it's rising.
So, because it's sunset, we're gonna take the east.
We're going to the east side. The sun is over there.
We're gonna follow the crying baby.
Keep on going.
So it is about a 20-minute hike up to the top. It looks shorter than it is. It's deceiving. As always, Ruthie did her research, so she's gonna give you a little bit of a history lesson about this place.
I just read a little bit about this place before we arrived here. And these statues were built. They used to have their heads on them. These statues were built, they were seated heads, whether it was snakes, eagles, there's a person's head behind me, another person's head behind me, like kings and stuff. And this was built before the year 0, about 62 BC, or even before that. So it's more than 2,000 years old. But when another group conquered, then they cut off the heads, because these were originally there to represent all the religions of the area. And either, we don't know who, so it was either a Christian group or a Muslim Arabic group that came here and then performed religious vandalism and cut off the heads, decapitated them, and left them strewn across the landscape here. And that's why the heads are cut off of all the seated figures.
And there you have it, history lessons with Ruthie. Alright, these guys were the original ground gnomes, like legit. They do look like gnomes. The OG gnome right here.
Remember, that's disrespect. That is King Antiochus and Zeus.
Is it, what's King Hercules? Whoa.
Oh, Hercules. Hercules.
Alright, let's go sit down and watch sunset. Cool, bye heads.
Nobody really knows how they got the heads carved all the way up here, because this stone is native to the top of the mountain, so they had to carry them up somehow, and no one really knows how they did it.
This is more of a mystery than the pyramids. This is nice. It's just a lazy day. We're out here waiting for sunset on the mountain. I think the heads are awesome, and seeing them is definitely a treat. It's crazy how they got up there, because there's no history written on it. It's before the year 0, before Jesus. So so it's kind of crazy. Like nobody gives them any consideration, you know? It's not like, whoa, look at these heads that are up here, because I don't think they get enough, they don't really get enough, what's that thing called?
Attention?
They don't get enough publicity. Yeah, they don't get enough publicity, so nobody knows about this place, which makes it that much better for us. It's more of like a Turkish destination, so there's a lot of Turkish people here. But I think the best part about it is catching sunset.
It's kind of like a lone destination here, because there's not really much else to see within like a 4-hour radius of here. So that's why it's not very famous, is because everyone's just like, oh, like Ephesus and Troy and all those places are like, they're the center of not just those places. There's a lot of other things to see, but here there's not much else to see besides Nemrut.
Yeah.
I was wrong, by the way, in the beginning. I thought that the heads were like facing the mountain on either side. So if the sun was rising on the east, then it would hit the west side, like because the sun would be like shining on their faces. But it's the opposite, because the heads like backs are to the mountain and their heads are facing outward. Then when the sun sets on the west, then the west side gets all the sunlight, and when it sets and when it rises on the east, and the east side gets all the sunlight. So if you ever come here, then at sunset go to the west side, and then at sunrise go to the east side. Sorry, I was wrong before.
Yeah, but also come to this side because the sunset just looks awesome over these rolling hills.
It does. It's beautiful, and you can see lakes in the background, and like arid land usually isn't that beautiful to me, but it's beautiful here. Today marks the day Hammer's decided not to cut off his hair. He's going to grow it for as long as he can.
I grow it for as long as I can. As long as I don't get annoyed by it. The problem is, it gets to the awkward point. And I think it's going to be in the awkward point when we're in China and Japan. And those are places I've always wanted cool pictures. So I'm going to need a hat in order to grow out my hair. Definitely going to need a hat.
Well, I should do a time lapse. What do you think?
Yeah, you should if you So sunset was pretty awesome, and it made us realize it's only 20 lira to come here, so why not come again during sunrise and see if it's even better during that time.
Yep, I'm excited to compare the two and let you know if Nemrut is better at sunrise or sunset, and if the wind is better at sunrise or sunset.
We're about to have some dinner, and you can see the stars clear as day. You guys probably can't see them because on a camera it's a little bit harder, but this is such a cool town. Honestly, like, I was kind of, at first I was like, okay, we don't have electricity half the day here, and there's like no Wi-Fi. There's really nothing that we can do besides go to Nemrut. But being at Nemrut, we realized, wow, this is actually so magical. So we're gonna go back tomorrow because it was that good. And also, low-key, the food here in this village is awesome. Karadut. Shout out to you guys for having such an awesome village.
We got lahmacun, we got pita, and we got omelet. Good morning.
Good morning. It's about 3:30 in the morning. We're wearing the same clothes as yesterday. And we're gonna head on up to Nemrut. So we'll see what it's like for sunrise. I heard it's magical during sunrise. It's super dark out right now.
Today we're gonna be lazy and take the shuttle. The shuttle is really nice.
It's an extra 5 lira to take the shuttle, so definitely worth it. Trying to catch the star pictures.
That's Nemrut over there.
Let's go.
Oh, there we go.
You can see it?
Only up close.
There's Nemrut. Okay, come on.
Gözlerin nereye bakar? Gör gör yavrucağım, sana neler alacağım. Dön gel. Nereye bak, şuraya sağlam bir yere bak. Burası sağlam. Bu tarafa gideceğiz.
So overall, I would say sunrise is definitely better for the views, and it's incredibly beautiful. I thought there'd be a lot less people here, but there's actually more people at sunrise than there are during sunset, which is kind of crazy.
It's true, and you could actually see the tour buses come in, and like all the people come up with a tour, and they have tour guides explaining things, but it's pretty much all Turkish people here. I think we're like the only ones I've heard that speak English, except maybe like one or two other people.
Yeah, but it's incredibly beautiful, and seeing the sunrise over the horizon is so amazing.
It's really cool right now because like the sun itself hasn't come out up top of like the mountains in the distance, and so right now there's this one mountain out there. It's like glowing pink.
Glowing pink, yeah.
It looks so cool, but I don't know if we can catch it with the camera. If not, then you just have to take our word for it.
Yeah. And you can catch the star pictures, which is my favorite part about sunrise is you catch the stars on the way up to the mountain. So whenever we get to do sunrise, I'm always just incredibly happy. So if you guys are up for it, definitely sunrise as opposed to sunset here.
Let's see if you. Oh, they could see the red. It's right there. There's so many people here right now. Like I said, way more packed for sunrise than for sunset.
Yeah. We're gonna go back around the other end because walking up and down the west end is a lot easier than walking up and down the east end. Come on.
This is beautiful. We got our shuttle tickets.
So we've had so many mixed feelings about where we're staying. The room itself, it's not that bad. There's some things that we don't like and there's some things that we do like.
But how this is. Turn it around. Let me see like how much of a view it gets when you do it like that. Oh, I guess.
Yeah, it gets a lot. In general, the things that we do like, it is surprisingly spacious. There's air conditioning, and it's surprisingly clean for just where it is because we're in the village, pretty much in the middle of nowhere, where they don't get a lot of really good stuff here, I guess. There's decoration. There's a table. We have 2 beds, and we have all the space that we could ever need. It's very well kept. However, there's a couple things we don't like. For example, we have here what seems to be a poop stain. That's at the foot of the bed, and we've been avoiding it at all costs. Also,
they turn off the water and electricity for from 12 until 6 p.m. So
I think it's from 10 to 6 or something.
Yeah, 10 to 6. So we've been just pooping and and we can't flush it. It's really bad. It's disgusting, but it's what you gotta put up with being in the village, you know.
Yeah, and it's not like not having electricity is not a problem. It's really okay. And the running water thing, that's okay, except the problem is it's gross because then sometimes you can't time your poops like that, so that's kind of gross. And then the last thing, not having electricity is really not a big problem, except usually when we have days like this where there's not that much to do here besides seeing Mount Nemrut, right?
Which we saw twice.
Which we saw twice. We decided to stay here 3 nights because it's a long drive to get here and it's a long drive to leave here. So we were like, let's just do 3 nights. We'll spend one day focusing on Mount Nemrut and making sure we go there a couple times and get everything that we want. And we can spend the other 2 days just writing our blogs, editing our videos, and doing all that stuff. But that requires electricity, especially for editing the videos. Yeah. So it just kind of stinks that we haven't been able to do all the work that we were planning on doing.
If you guys like this, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll hit you guys up with more adventures to come.